What's going on, guys? It's Nollie the Gnome, and I'm excited to share my thoughts on Classic WoW. I want to preface this video by explaining my intentions behind wanting to play Classic. I feel everybody's intentions are different. Some people will play for nostalgia. Some people are playing because it's a new experience. For me personally, when I first started playing World of Warcraft, I was very young, and I didn't understand the complexity that is the talent systems and getting hit capped and trying to find a balance behind all your stats and these potions, and only so many buffs can be on a boss at one time, so you have to hold some of your buffs back so the warlock can put on curse of elements. It's really complex for a game that's just supposed to be fun. And I'm not saying it's not fun. I'm just saying for a 12 or 13-year-old to jump into his first MMORPG, to understand all of this, it's incredibly overwhelming. And that's why to be honest, I don't even know if I even knew any of that existed at the point, because I was never really 60. I probably stopped playing vanilla when I was maybe 40 or 50, and I was mostly grinding. I understood the concept of questing and zones, but the reality is it took me a long time to realize you could even repair your armor. That's how much of a noob I was. This was my first MMORPG I've ever played. I'm sure as it was for many of you. So my intention behind playing Classic is that I wanted to relive the experience with more knowledge, because they say hindsight is 20/20. So to be able to take my knowledge that I've learned from playing from all these years and go back into where it all began, I felt it would be a unique experience and something that's greatly different from what we currently have. As you can see, I'm currently leveling a hunter, and one of the most fun experiences thus far is having to be aware of feeding your pet and ensuring you have enough arrows. Now, next I'm making a warlock, and I know they also have the conundrum of keeping bag space while having to have soul shards that you're constantly siphoning off the enemies right before they die. That's fun. It adds an aspect of difficulty that doesn't currently exist in the current Battle for Azeroth expansion. But that's okay, because, different strokes, different folks. I'm glad they allowed for both aspects of the game to now exist, so if people want a harder version of the game, they can play Classic. If they want an easier version, they can play BFA, and that works beautifully. Something that it took me some time to, come to the realization of, and that's Classic WoW is not vanilla. It's Classic, and there's a difference, and the difference is, well, number one, hindsight is 20/20. We know a lot now that we didn't know when vanilla was out, and that's because we have experience and we've grown with World of Warcraft. We've matured as individuals. We have spent a lot of time talking to the development team through forums, through Reddit, through Twitch videos, through Twitter, to sort of see how they feel and what their idea of what a successful game is, and sharing our thoughts about what we would want to see in World of Warcraft. And they listen sometimes they don't. But it's shaped World of Warcraft to something different. And even Classic is slightly different than it was in vanilla. A perfect example is the layering or sharding, whatever you want to call it. That didn't exist in vanilla. Not to my knowledge. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, the way people are complaining was layering or sharding was not a thing back in vanilla. It took me a little bit of time, to adjust to the idea that it's not completely verbatim what vanilla was, but it's very close. Now, for my intentions behind wanting to play Classic, the truth is, I mainly want to play because there are experiences that I never had that I can have in Classic now. A perfect example is Naxxramas. Obviously, never being capped, I never got to run Naxxramas while it was current. I never got to do Onyxia's Lair, Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, so it's going to be a lot of fun to run these raids. My biggest thing, and the whole reason I'm playing a hunter, is because I want that epic hunter staff / bow, that combination. I don't Loktathar or something like that, I think the name is. Someone could probably correct me how I slaughtered that name in the comments, but I'm excited to do these quests. That, and I know there's the priest staff as well. They look like a lot of fun, and unfortunately they've been removed from the game since, I believe, Cataclysm, because since they changed the world, they removed some of those drops, and the world bosses are no longer there, so you can't get these items in the current version of World of Warcraft. So it's cool to allow players like myself to go back in time and re-experience these dungeons, these raids, and these difficult quests where once we could not because we missed the boat. That's my main intention for playing Classic. Yes, the arrows are fun, the talent trees are fun, taming pets, the difficulty, that's all fun. But the main reason I want to do it is because now I get to see what the inside of Naxxramas looks like at level 60. Now I can kite those 4 demons and get that epic staff and bow. I can see undead with that trinket, that eye trinket that I know priests have. fighting Onyxia, it's epic. When I think of a raid, I think of a big dragon, and that's what Onyxia is. So for me personally, this is why I'm excited to play Classic, because these are experiences I've never had, and experiences that I always dreamed up in my head when I first started playing WoW. One day I'm going to be high enough and I'm going to fight that dragon. It never got to that point. So really, I think for a lot of people, it's about an experience they never had because they were too young or they just didn't have the time back then, which now they do. So for me, it's all positive for me. I guess some people are nitpicking at the negativities of Classic compared to Vanilla. It's not exactly the same. I'm just grateful they did it because they didn't need to do it, and they did. I mean, it took time. They had to pay people to develop this game so we could have Classic. So the fact that they were willing to do that for the fans, I'm appreciative. So my thoughts on questing. Questing is grindy. I was expecting that, but what I didn't expect was the difficulty of questing. Now, if I wasn't, I'm already struggling as a hunter to kill stuff, just because when you pull more than one mob, I'm sure as many of you know, it's troublesome. As a hunter, I'm still struggling, so I can't imagine what it's like when you don't have a pet to take the brunt of the damage. I mean, I don't necessarily think this was their intention when they first designed Classic World of Warcraft, or Vanilla World of Warcraft, was to make these mobs hit so hard, but it just, things fell into place. They were a small development team. They first started. They were overwhelmed. They created the largest MMORPG probably of all time, and it's a big task. So it became the standard, and it became what we now know as World of Warcraft. The grind, them hitting hard, pulling two things will probably kill you. But I don't necessarily think that was their intention at first. But things fall into place, and that's how life is. That's how everything in life is. So I'm not complaining about it. I just didn't realize how difficult it would be. And it slows down the pace of the game tremendously. For me personally, I sort of enjoy it. I find it more relaxing now because you take your time with each mob, you learn to appreciate your character, your pet, you sort of build like a relationship with the zones, with the NPCs, because it seems more of an intimate experience unless it's just like quick. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. Like you can't go from mob to mob fast enough in the new WoW. In this one, you can see their animations. You can see your animations. It's different. It's a slower paced game overall. And for me personally, I found the questing experience to be more immersive because things slowed down. As they say in Mists of Pandaria, slow down, life is to be savored. Maybe the pandas aren't wrong, because I've been enjoying the questing experience a lot more in Classic than I have been as of late in Live. And that's mostly because when I play on Nollie, my Warlock, I can't pull stuff fast enough. I don't die. I pull the entire zone, dotting it up and running, dot and rot, everything. And everything just melts behind me. And then I loot everything. Versus in Classic, you kill one thing, you're lucky if you don't get aggro on a second thing. You loot it, then you have to loot the second one. You're looting everything individually. Everything about this slows everything down. Now, if you were to ask me if this game came out today, would this method of questing work, of mobs having this much health and two things killing you at once? I don't think it would work ever. I think it would flop because people are just too incentivized by instant gratification today. But for the time that it came out and for what it is, which is a nostalgia factor, I think it works very well. And I think people like Asmongold, Soda Poppin', they've proven that it's effective, and they've proven that it works because they love it. All their fans seem to love it. They seem to be getting more hits now than they have in the past maybe 6 months or more. So obviously there's a market of people that are interested in reliving the experience that is Vanilla WoW. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the community. This, I don't know if it's the honeymoon phase, because World of Warcraft, as most online games, has a fairly aggressive player base. And what do I mean by that? I mean people are quick to judge, assume, it's fend for yourself. Really, that's just how it is often. And even in a game like Overwatch, which the very existence of the game is founded upon the idea of working as a team, people are still selfish players, and they go run off, get themselves killed, and blame the team. So in a game like World of Warcraft, where it's a hybrid of working together and playing by yourself, I am flabbergasted at how well people are coordinating with one another and how helpful people are for the most part. People are grouping together to accomplish quests quicker. People are nice to each other for the most part in general chat or trade chat and the looking for group chat. Of course, you always have those degenerates that talk about politics or anything else and talk about whatever you want, but people get aggressive. That's just how it is. But for the most part, I hope it's not the honeymoon phase. I hope people just aren't just so excited that Classic exists, that's why they're nice. I hope that this will last, that the people that genuinely are in it for the grind understand that anyone else that's willing to put in the effort of the grind is probably worth collaborating with and playing with and grouping with and helping, because you guys share similar values. And that's, you don't necessarily want instant gratification, but you want a fun experience. And an experience is always more fun when you have people to play with. So thus far, I'm very impressed with the community. I'm very impressed with how polite everybody has been and how welcoming everybody has been, especially to new players. So I'm really, really hoping it lasts. So if you're one of those players that maybe sometimes you are a little bit toxic or aggressive or angry, try to catch yourself and be self-aware and say, look, like, what's the point of this? What am I getting out of this? It's not fun for me. It's not fun for the person on the other end. And try to just reshift your mind frame to say, what if I do cooperate with people? Maybe we will have more fun. I mean, you're sort of forced into cooperating in dungeons if you want to do a dungeon, because dungeons hit so hard. You have to CC stuff now. Like, it's a lot of fun, but you need to coordinate. And if someone's not doing their job or someone's attacking the wrong target, it's probably going to end in a wipe. So I'm hoping these difficult mechanics are going to force the player base to get back to their roots and remember that this is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, and people should collaborate and group together to achieve a greater goal. Overall, the experience has been a lot of fun. It's grindy, but I'm playing at a very slow pace. I'm in no rush to get to 60 because the game's not going anywhere this time. And I hope to experience all the wonderful things this this game has to offer, because it really is spectacular. And it's the world, even though the world is so much smaller, because you don't have Argus, you don't have Mists, you don't have any of those other expansions, you don't have Burning Crusade, it seems larger than it's ever been, because you're walking everywhere, you're going slower, there's no portals. The game feels how it did when I first started playing, when I was like 13 years old. And it's exciting to be able to relive that, because what made the game so amazing for me is that the world just seemed larger than life, that traveling a far distance really was traveling a far distance, and it felt like that. It felt like a journey. So I really hope this mentality, Blizzard understands that they captured lightning in a bottle, and they'll try to keep this essence of whatever they did with Classic WoW moving forward. So if they do come out with a Burning Crusade expansion and a Wrath of the Lich King expansion, I hope they'll still try to keep it as close to the original as possible, because there's a reason they were as popular as they were. I don't believe just because Burning Crusade was the first expansion, that's why it was the most successful. I think, genuinely, some of the expansions were far better developed than some of the other ones. I'm looking at you, Cataclysm. Not a huge fan of Cataclysm. I loved Burning Crusade. Wrath of the Lich King was not bad, but Mists of Pandaria was amazing. So it's not that the first one that came first is the best one. I don't know what about it made it so great. Partially it was the storyline, but something else, just something about the world being so expansive and it seeming like you were, some small adventurer, not the savior of all of Azeroth. This one gnome warlock has saved the entire existence and anything moving forward for all of time. Like, that's too much. I don't need to be that much of a hero. Make me a little warlock that's powerful in my own right, but I'm a speck on the gigantic world that is out there, because that to me makes it really seem like a larger than life world. But those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys think about Classic WoW. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about this video. If there's anything I've missed out on, or anything I could improve on, or anything regarding the channel or anything else, I would just love to hear your thoughts. This World of Warcraft community and Overwatch community is a huge community filled with incredibly talented people, and I would just love to collaborate with any of you. So if there's anything you feel I can do to improve this channel, improve my videos, or improve anything else, I would love your opinions. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, Nollie the Gnome out.